Hi, my name is Ricardo Ferrer Rivero, and I'm going to be talking about something you might have already heard about, and it's a cryptocurrency called Bitcoin. But before I start with that, before we go into digital money, it is very important to understand how regular money works and how the system we're using has evolved through the years. So money was invented to facilitate trade throughout the world because before there was money, it was really hard to trade goods and services. So if I wanted to have a cow and somebody had potatoes, I would give them potatoes, and it was unclear how big those potatoes had to be, or maybe how many I had to give them to get a cow. And after coins were invented, which were made of precious metals back in the day, that solved a lot of problems because there was like a standardization of how value could be transferred. A pound of silver would be a pound of silver independently if it was traded in one region or another. And although a lot of problems were solved with this, it was still unpractical to carry a lot of coins in your pocket or in your horse because they were very heavy, and you also had security problems. Somebody could just take those coins away from you while you were traveling from one city to another. And that's where goldsmiths come into the game, and they started offering kind of a service to the people that had lots of coins and didn't want to store it at home. So they took those coins, and in exchange, they wrote a little piece of paper, which was basically a promise to give them the coins back at some point in the future. So that's how paper money was invented. And after a while, if those little pieces of papers came from reputable sources, people started trading between them because it was very impractical to just go back to the goldsmith, take the coins out, and then give it to someone else, even if they were stored there. So they just traded with paper, which was much more practical. And the goldsmiths, they were very smart. They wanted to make some more money, and they noticed something very important, and that is that a lot of the coins that were stored weren't moving. They were just staying there the whole time. So they had this crazy idea of just taking those coins out and giving it to other people and charging interest and getting more money out of it. And that worked really well for them. And that's how the fractional reserve banking got invented, and that's what we have inherited until today. And to put it into current context, for example, in the UK, 97% of the money that is actually in bank accounts doesn't really exist. This is a huge number if you put it in contrast with what people usually think that is happening with their money. People usually think, I give £100 to the bank, and when I want to have the £100, I can get it any time. But that is not really true, because if only 3% of those pounds get withdrawn at the same time, the whole system would collapse. So that's also one of the reasons why there's people that have been working in economy and in technology have been asking themselves, how can such a system be sustainable? And we have been seeing more often that the crises in the financial world are always coming sooner and getting always bigger, and they're being saved with more debt. And it's a system that will not sustain forever. And that's what I just explained is only on the banking system. There is also a lot of money creation at the governmental level through central banks. And that is also something that is not new at all. Before, the authorities that created those silver and gold coins were kings and queens. So they really had extravagant lifestyles and wanted to finance their wars. So at one point they noticed they don't have enough money to do that, so they started taking the coins back and debasing the money, which is basically what they did was dilute the amount of silver and gold in the coins. They melted it, added some other metals, and that is something that central banks do today through a much complicated model of government bonds, which is a promise to get taxes that they haven't really gathered from people. And that leads to inflation, which is the highest tax anybody pays, but nobody knows really about it or is confronted with it, because if back in the day the kings and queens would say, we want to start a war, give us money for taxes, nobody would really accept it. Because usually taxes are coupled with infrastructure, with roads, and with things that benefit people, but war doesn't benefit anybody. So that is something that now, through technology, is there the possibility to completely reinvent what money is all about. And to go out a little bit outside of the financial circles, I want to bring a little bit of perspective of what technology is capable of doing. We have been living the last couple of decades in the information revolution. Through the invention of the internet, there's people around the world in remote areas that now have the possibility to access information that was not possible in the past, because building infrastructure is very expensive. I mean, if you want to build a library in Africa, you have to bring the books over there and invest a lot of money, which is absolutely not scalable. And Bitcoin is comparable to the invention of the internet. And instead of democratizing information like the internet did, Bitcoin is democratizing financial services and money supply. It is taking away the power of governments and central banks on money policy, and it's comparable to what happened when the church and state got divided. Now what Bitcoin is doing is actually dividing money policy from central authorities and the government, so no corrupt government can decide when they create money or not. And this is possible through a technological breakthrough that happened in 2009, and it's the basis of Bitcoin. It's the first time that it is possible to create something digital that is unique and cannot be copied. Because when we think about digital stuff, we know movies, we know music, we know PDFs, and we know how easy it is to copy everything and send it to everybody else. So if we had money that is digital and would work the same way, it would have absolutely no value, because everybody can create it. And Bitcoin brings a technological breakthrough. It's called the blockchain. And the blockchain is a decentralized database that is shared by a lot of computers around the world. And you can imagine the blockchain as a very long Excel table or a database where all transactions are distributed around the world through different computers. And it's publicly available. And through different encryption mechanisms, you can create anonymity, although you have 100% transparency of how money is created and how the transactions are made. This brings a whole lot of new possibilities, because a register of this power is a digital registry where everything that is written on it is going to be there forever, and it's unchangeable. And And that's something you can prove with math and programming. The Bitcoin protocol is an open source protocol that anyone can see and anyone can try to understand. And it's being developed all the time, but the basic rules of what Bitcoin is cannot be changed unless there is a consensus worldwide. For me, discovering Bitcoin has led me into the path of seeing what is possible in the future. And it's not only about digital contracts or maybe taking away the need of having central governmental registries of how land is transferred, or real estate, or a car. But it goes a bit more farther than that, and it's right now, because it is an open source protocol, there are about 500 digital currencies that are based on this idea of the blockchain. And that is bringing us back to actually prehistorical times in trading a cow with potatoes, but in a highly technological way. And it's bringing back the value that should be behind such transactions, and it's not abstracted through bonds or through debasing of currency. So it's basically digital gold that has a certain amount that is going to be created and cannot be replicated. And my favorite idea for the future is that this kind of technological advancement will ultimately lead to restructuring in governmental structures and also the creation of decentralized autonomous governments, because through this transparency you will be able to have much more power as a citizen in terms of governmental structure. So thank you for the invitation, and thanks for listening.
Thank you very much, Ricardo. Wait here, stay here.